I'm Elise the Archer, and today, as our special guest, we have my little cousin Matthew. And today, we are doing horn mounts. Helping us today will be my papa, which has been doing this for almost
50 years. 50 years. I've been doing this stuff for 50 years. Number one, this is not a business. This is not a for hire thing. This is a family hobby. Anything you see in there, this is our hobby. We don't do this for money. We don't do this for, we'll do a favor once in a while, but we don't do this for a business because it'll get out when your hobbies become a business or a responsibility. They're not fun anymore. But yeah, today Lacey has been helping me do this stuff. You were like, when did you kill your first deer? When you were
7.
7, 8?
No, when I was 7, I got the 10th one.
Oh, yeah. Well, anyway, so to get a deer rack like this is actually simple. This is what I need, what I do, just because I've been doing it for so long. But basically, these are the items that you're going to need: staple gun, razor blade, material. The material that I use, a lot of times that I recommend to first timers, is this flexible felt type material. Kind of cool when you do some different things. Spread it out. You know, like the red, white, and blue. I've used old jean material, fabric and stuff like that. The leather, I don't suggest you get into leather because it's a different animal, I'll tell you. Especially the cream and the softer colors. If you've got oil or anything on your finger while you're mounting that and you get that on there, you can't get it out. It's there. The patterns, just because I've done it for so long, the only thing I recommend to people is to wrap that material around the mount or the mold. After we'll show you that. I start out with an arrowhead pattern. That's the simplest way I can put it. That arrowhead pattern will help you greatly, and it only took me 50 some years to figure it out because I'm not a seamstress. But that'll lay in there, and this will get you started when you start forming that material around and stapling it on. We'll show you here shortly. The wood that I take for the backing back here is a simple piece of plywood. I think that's 3/8 inch thick plywood. That's going to go right. It's going to mount right to the back of the horn like that. We'll go through and we'll show you how that is and how to make it. The plaques, Lacey and I, in the winter, we'll take a snowy, blowy, cold, nothing else to do day, and we have a pattern of a plaque that I had that for 50 some years. Yeah, simple thing. And we'll cut out, well, what do we make? 10, 15 of these this last winter? About that. And then I simply router them. Real simple router job. If you don't have a router, you can take a hand grinder or anything and kind of dent the ends and antique it. Real simple. You don't need expensive tools. This is a $10 from a garage sale drill that I've had forever. Does it work? Yes, it does. Is the DeWalt nice? Yes, it is. But let's go ahead and show them what we're going to do here in a minute. Alrighty.
Real quick, I'm going to show you how to make a template.
Like Lacey just said, this is how we make the template for these. On any deer racks are like anything else. They're like humans. They're all different. They're different sizes, shapes, widths. One horn might be a little higher than the other or something like that. Basically, take a piece of paper, felt marker, and right along the top of the skull, you make a mark. And then right at the base, right about there, oops, make a mark. Do the same on the other side, right below the burr of the antler right there. You just make another mark. And then I usually try and go down about this far, and I make another mark. 1, 2, 3, 4 marks, okay? Then I take this paper and the 2 marks on the end, I can see the other mark on the other side. I'm going to line it up with that. Fold it. And you don't have to be an artist to do this. And then I start right from here, from the side one, and I'll just make a line like that. And the bottom part, around here, I just make, it's just like, almost like making a heart. I just take an arc and go like that. It's not rocket science. Give me those scissors right there. Simple. With these magic scissors. See, this isn't rocket science. And if you make it difficult, it will be difficult. You make it easy on yourself, there's your template. Simple as that. If you've got an old scrap piece of plywood, I won't let her run a jigsaw, but I'll run a jigsaw. Just take the jigsaw, you put this on your piece of wood, and just simply draw around it, cut it out, there's your template. Right. These horns, the back, they were a little too thick, a little too far away from the wall. I didn't want it that thick, so I took a bandsaw and I cut this much off. See the difference? That'll put this template a little bit closer to the horns, a little easier to form, and it makes all the difference in the world. One more little piece of advice. If the back of that horn is too high, go ahead and cut that up. I don't like that to be, I actually like to be that lower than the burr, the back of the horns right there. See where I've got that cut. That was another reason I cut that. And right here below the burr, where the burr comes down, I like to cut that, I like to trim that little piece of skull out right, right back through. It'll make, and you'll see why, it'll make it a lot easier in the long run. And then when I'm gonna drill my holes through here to mount this, I'll put one right here, and one right there. Ta-da! Hey, well, I trimmed this off, and believe me, I have the right tools to do this, but if you don't need band saws and all that. If you've got a grinder, you can grind this off, you can grind these level off the back. It'll smell pretty bad because bone really smells when you grind it. But when I was her age doing this stuff, I mean, I used my dad's hacksaw, anything I could to get these things right. He threw a fit a couple times, but I did it. Well, we're gonna drill the holes right where I said. Make sure you are doing this on a workbench type thing. If you do this on somebody else's table, you run that drill bit down into their table, they will not be happy. Oh, and don't hold the horns like that when you're drilling this. I know somebody that did that when they were about, he was 18 years old when he did that, drilled a hole down into his hand. Boy, was he a dumbass. Okay. You ready? Okay. Putting the horns on the template, right? This part, I want you to see how that lines up. See how that lines up? See how the burr is a little bit wider than the template on each side? That's what you want. And you'll see why in the end. And I don't want that skull, the back part, I want that a little bit lower than the burr of the horn, see? See how, I know you're understanding how this is going so far. Now, when you screw those on there, that's way too much, way too long. So, go to another size. That's just, that'll be all right for the back one. So we can put this one on.
Once you get it lined up, put your screw in. We're gonna check for alignment before we finish. Looks good. Oops, it slipped. The alignment's a little off.
What? Hey, good eye. See how it's a little bit more that way? That's why you want to check this stuff before you finish it. So what we're going to do, loosen these up. And most of the time you can just tweak them. Look at there. See how much better that is? Just that much. Look at the difference. Just when those screws go back through that, be careful you don't stick your hands on them. But you can I either snip those off or I just take them on my grinder and I grind those off flush. We're ready for the next step.
Yay.
Yay. Okay.
We checked the alignment again and we're happy with it. So it's time to mold. Put it down.
One other little tip. When we start doing the mache on this to make that cap, your hands are going to get really nasty, crappy. Foam paper mache, watery paper mache. When you grab these horns, you get that paper mache all over the burr of these antlers, and they're a bear to clean. So what I would suggest and what I do now is I take some saran wrap. I take some saran wrap and I'll wrap that horn around that base, anywhere where my hand is, like that. Take some tape, any old tape. This is just blue painter's tape, and I'll wrap that around there just to kind of hold that on there. Once again, you guys, this isn't rocket scientist work going on here, but and God love the taxidermists that do this for a business. That they earn their money, let me tell you, because like I say, I've been doing this for 50 years, and I don't need it to be a business because my family, between my family, my kids and my grandkids, I stay busy and I love it. But this little tip right here will save you, and it only took me 50 years to figure it out. Of course, you can pull all this stuff up on YouTube, and you can pull up anything on YouTube, but they make it so complicated sometimes. There you go. I got my paper mache ready for her. Mixing bowl. This is an old, anything will work. This is an old, I think this had deck screws in it, but I cleaned it out and I saved it. An old wooden, whatever it is, to mix it up, water, and a little finger bowl. You'll see what that's for when I get done. Let's get at it.
Yay! I'm gonna put 5 scoops in here to get my papa started.
Heap them right up. That's good. There you go. All right. A little water.
Oh, your sleeves up. This is about to get messy.
That's usually about 1 scoop of water was what I started out with, so we'll see how it turns out.
This many times.
Yep, sure your corners.
I know. You didn't get it on the last one. I can see that. It's stuck in the corner. Haha.
Don't pour water in, use your fingers. Because if you pour more water in, you'll make it very thick.
It's better just to use the moisture on your fingers at this point. Because
So have
everybody puts too much water in there, turns to soup, and then you won't be able to work. But this is about the consistency we want right here. Kind of like bread dough. A little heavier than bread dough.
Don't have that, add some more powder.
And if you think you need more, because you can check it by just putting it on there and just kind of looking at it like, we can do that. Now, I got the consistency that we want. What I'm going to do now, take a little bit, stuff right in the cavity. Take a little bit, right around the back side of the burr there, just to make it easier on you in the long run. Put a little bit right there. Make it below the burr. Don't put this putty right up even with that burr. Don't do that. You want that burr, you want that just barely into the skull like that. Because you're going to have material, and then your braid's going to go around there, and it's got to fit under that burr pretty much. But but I'm just building this up to make it easier in the long run here. I'll wet my fingers just a little bit. Put this back. I'm going to put a little bit. Start out right on the skull and the board. Once again, I'm gonna press that down. I'm paying attention where those burrs are, the antler burr. And don't be intimidated by this. It's just paper mache. I'm gonna press that down. I'm still paying attention where that burr is. And that's just about all I'm gonna put. Right there. Now we're going to go for the main cap. Always wet your fingers too. I wet my fingers. Push that right there. And with my thumbs, I'm going to start working that back. There's no rocket scientific process. I'm just working it back towards the antlers themselves. See? This is what we're striving for right here. Look, see how that's working out? And it's all I did was took that ball, put my hands on it like that, and I'm working it. I just worked it back.
You have to be the boss.
You don't have to be an artist to do this. Now, I've got my basic shape there. And if I act like I'm in a hurry, I'm not, but this is, once this stuff is mixed, it's already starting to set. So now I'm taking my little finger bowl here, getting my fingers wet. Now I'm going to start shaping it. And believe me, if I make this kind of almost look like it's easy for me because I've been doing it for 50 years. And you will be surprised how easy this is when you do it. Like I say, I'm just taking my fingers and I'm just looking for my shape. I'm just looking for my little heart shape. I'm looking at it down the sides. See, I don't have any high spots. It's pretty equal. It's not higher on this side than this side, so I'm pretty happy with that. Looking at it from the front, I have a little low spot right there. So what I can do with my hands is, see how I'm moving that plaster over a little bit more, just like that. I'm even with my plaque, the template right there. The back's a little rough, so I'm gonna feather that down, even it out. Can you see what I'm doing? Back's not as important. You want it even, so that when you look right straight across it, you know, it's not higher up here than it is there. But now, and then what I like to do is I like to take like an old sharp edge, and to make sure that my antler burrs, I've got that, remember that space I was telling you about? Get that wet and that'll work better. I make darn sure that I have that plaster down below that antler burr, because that'll really help in the long run when you start making your final cap. You can take your knife and kind of even that out a little bit with your finger. And I'm confident that I have plenty. See, this horn's a little higher than that one. That's why there's a difference. Sets of horns are very different. You might have one that's a ½ inch higher than the other side sometimes. But I'm very happy with that cap right there. And now, it'll look like that. This one's 50 years old. But it's still nice.
Still looks good.
Still looks good. But that's what we're going for. Ta-da!
This is the arrowhead pattern that we recommend you start with, and then you can trim from there.
Let's wrap this thing.
All right. Make sure it's clean. Hasn't got anything on it.
It has a few things.
This is the arrowhead pattern that we, you know, like she just said, that I suggest people start out. Lay it right on there. It's not rocket science again, like I say, folks. Pull it around. I suggest you pull it around to the back first. Give it a couple just tacks. Because sometimes you have to pull those back out because you have to rearrange the material a little bit. This side looks like it's going to go pretty good. Right now I'm just going to give it a little quick mark, because I'm going to cut that right around the top of the burr. Like that. And this one, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm not going to tag, I'm just going to wrap it around there. I can see that burr, and it's going to go right around there, like that. And I can take that off. Oh, I can't take it off, but I can just move it around. I'm usually sitting down when I do this, so if I look like I'm kind of floundering a little bit, it's because I'm usually sitting down. Cut that one. Check the fit. Doesn't matter if a little of that shows on the back. Does not matter at all. Now see, the reason I like a little stretchy material, see how I can pull that down? Give it a couple quick tacks. Just to hold it in place. Because once you're done, you're going to go through and you're going to cut all that excess off anyhow. Now, I'm going to start down here at the tip. And you kind of want to fold. You want to make these little folds. And bring your material in. And I hold it with my finger. I get them down there a little bit. Now, see how those are folded this way? I'm drawing that material that way. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to just barely fold it and pull it that way a little bit more again. I'm holding my finger. And I think I'm going to put one more right there where that spot's at. Go back to this side. Same thing. I'm going to draw it down towards the other side. Do the same thing. I'm going to see how I'm fold it and I kind of twist it just that little bit. That's not going to show. Like I say, I'm usually sitting down when I'm doing this, and I've got these horns in my lap so they don't move. Twist that, bring it over, twist that, bring it over, twist that, bring it over, twist that, bring it over. Ta-da.
Ba-bam.
Ba-bam. Now
Ba-bam.
what we're going to do, though, is we're going to get rid of all this. But see how I've got that stapled all the way around there? I always put a couple extras right on the end here. See how that's cut or that's stapled all the way around? That little spot, see there? Pretty happy with the top too, so I'm going to go ahead and give a couple extras up here. All right. This stuff, like I say, it's all available at fabric shops, hardware stores, razor blade. I don't recommend handling a razor blade. I mean, it's dangerous enough with me handling it.
I know exactly how to go.
Now, I'm going to cut that off. Hopefully you can see what I'm trying to do it so you can see it. Just the back of the staples. And like I say, you know, if you don't get this right the first time, take it apart and do it again. It's not like it's a one and done thing. These horns are ready to wrap right here. Look at that.
Time to put the braids on.
What are we doing?
We're putting the braids on.
Putting the braids on, okay. There's different, Matthew showed them the gold braid. Sometimes we use gold braid. Sometimes we'll use a braid, you know, a cloth braid, a trim braid like that. We use a lot of gold, brown.
Yellow,
Today we're
brown.
Yep. Today we're going to use the brown braid. I'm going to try and do this on film so that it looks right. I got to remember how I do. Want to start out. All right. You want to start out wrapping it. I always start out from left to right. So what I'm going to do is, and I turn that sometimes to keep it tight. I'm going to run that around the back of the horn, like that. You have to attach that though, okay? So I get these little nails, and this is where it gets kind of, sometimes it gets kind of tough because I start those, I'll start them like that. Take my little hammer just to hold it. Once again, my braid, see, I want my braid around the bottom of that burr, not on top. I've seen them like that, it's ridiculous. I'll turn that around there and I'll go right over, I don't have to go over the top of it, but I'll go right over this one. I'm gonna put another little tack just to hold it. You know, when you're almost 68 years old, sometimes these things you're doing with your fingers don't work quite right. I just kind of hold that there. I'm going to go to the other side. We're going to come around this burr and back around him. Now what I like to do here, rather than come up tight like that, I like to go under it. I like to bring my braid under that. So I make sure that that's tight, or not tight, but I bring it around. Make sure that that's wrapped up there. And I can move this back, see? I'll take my other little tack. Tack that. And this one, I can kind of move straight. I'll tack this. And I am sure that there's another professional taxidermist out there that's going, what are you doing? That's not how that's done. You know what? I got a spot right on my derriere that says, kiss me. And you know what? Like I say, this is a family. It's a family thing here.
It's a family way.
Now, see how I'm bringing that around? See, now I kind of give that just a tiny twist because I don't want it loose. I want to give a little twist, bring it around the corner. Yep, just like you're doing. Now I'm bringing it up to the back end. This is where it might get kind of dicey. Okay. All right. Now, very important. When you get to where you're coming towards the end, take a piece of electrical tape and tape that so that you can cut it and it won't unfray on you. And I'm going to tuck that right back up under there. So I need to cut this, as I can see where it meets the other one or the white one? I'm going to cut that right about there. Grab that, Lacey, so I don't step on it. Now, because I didn't nail that one really tight, I'm going to kind of lift that a little bit, and I'm going to tuck this one right up underneath there. Kind of work that back over it. See how I tuck that up in there like that? Works out great. Like I say, that little bit right there, you ain't never going to see it. I usually use black or color according tacks, but for this video, I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. I tack those down. I'll tack that one right down here. This one I'm going to take down a little bit more now. I left that white so you could see it too. I'll take a black felt marker and I'll black that out. There you go.
Ta-da!
Ta-da.
Mine.
One other thing, I don't suggest any of this be done unsupervised, obviously, but I will take, I love this Gorilla super glue. I will take some of this. I'm not gonna, and I will squirt some down in around those, right at the ends. And then the back side where it's not seen, I'll give that couple little dabs right there in the back. don't do it in the front because the color will show through. But I'll give that just to set that. Now another thing, your end, right down to the very end, I will do just a little tack right there at the end. Not much, because you don't want it to bleed through. But because this, you want to leave this kind of loose because you can move that when you put it on the plaque. You can actually manipulate that back towards the plaque more. But ta-da!
Ta-da! Time to mount it on a plaque we made last summer.
All right, let's put these on.
Do we like it in the high, down,
Well,
or middle?
we like them kind of in the middle, kind of like that. But what we need to do now is, because of the screws that are going to go up in there, we want them right back in here. We don't want them down on the end or anything because they'll poke through. So in my mind, I know right where my finger is, and I'm going to put it right there. So I'm going to put a dot just to this side of it, to that side of it, and right there. That's exactly where my screws are going to be, on the thickest part of that cap. That's exactly what we want. So take the old screw gun.
Once again, don't end up like Grandpa's friend.
Right, she said it was Grandpa's friend. Okay? And the back where those come through, I always take something and kind of bevel the holes out a little bit. They call it countersinking. There's an expensive bit that you can buy that does this, but you know, this is what we call putting a Grandpa Don on it. Now, the screws that are going up in there, you take 68 years old, come on. These screws are going to go up in there about that far. And that is about as far as you really want them screws to go up in there to secure that. We'll see if a smaller one. I think I'm gonna go with this one. Because you gotta be careful with that, because you can, actually I think I'm gonna go with the shorter one. Get the wall out here. I'm gonna do this, but basically how I get these lined up is I set it on there, kind of get it where I think it should be. I'll put my hand on it, kind of hold it there. Take one screw, put it in there. Now see, that's how deep that screw is going to go in there. That's all the farther I want that. I'm glad I went with that one right there. Perfect.
That's sideways.
Okay, now we can see how I took it. I just adjusted that back a little bit.
That's better.
That look good?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's better.
now let's take, I always put my hand back on that again. Let's do one on the other side. What do you think?
I make it.
You like it?
This is 2 videos into one
Yep.
plaque.
Yeah, it is. That's 2 segments into one. And now, what we can do now is we look around the side. We kind of push that to where it meets the wood, right? Take the top up. The top. I mean, see, there is a gap. See that gap? But when it's on the wall, you don't see that. So don't worry about it. But that, my friends, oh, and I want to show you this too. Sometimes we get creative, and you can buy this. You can buy these anywhere. I got this at Menards. You can get these for, I think they're $8 for these plaques like this. You can take these horns, not with this plaque. I mean, that might look okay, but you know, I could take this skull cap and put this on here, and then, like I say, at any hardware store, you can get these framing picture hangers. 2 simple tacks right in the back of that with a little super glue on them, and you've got that plaque with your horns on it on the wall. I mean, come on. It's not rocket science. You can be innovative with this kind of stuff. But there we are.
The beauty.
We can take these and put these on different plaques if you like. My papa and I are gonna show you how to put these horns on a store-bought plaque.
Sweet. All right, just like last time. I'm gonna figure where my center is. I'm gonna move my finger, because that's about where we want them, right? Right about like that?
So just like right here?
Yeah. So we move them over. That's where my finger was, so I'm gonna put a dot here, here, and here. I'm gonna drill them. Grab those. At least you grab those. Make sure your leg's not right underneath where the drill's going through too. Not that anybody would do that. I did my hand, not my leg. I was 15 years old, so give me a break.
And that's like him.
Want a bevel?
When he was 15.
Bevel, or countersink the screws the professional way,
The grandpa way.
the grandpa way.
And passed
Now,
down from
this is,
grandpas.
let's see if this is thicker. So let's take this screw. How much are we gonna, oh, that's a good length. That's a good length right there. So we can do that. Now normally we would clear this too. This is right out of the package, so we're just kind of demonstrating what we're doing here. I mean, this is where your imagination really kicks in, because I mean, look at that, look at that. Now I'm gonna put my hand there again. This is gonna be a little trickier because it's a lot wider. So I'm gonna bring it right off the edge of the table here a little bit. Where my holes are. Put that there. And my drill. One in. Check it. I think we need to go a little higher. I think the horns need to come up a little higher.
It's not in the center, it's more down.
Well, I mean, you know, just for right now, we're just proving a point. So we're gonna go ahead. Once again, your fingers, this wood's bare. You don't want to put smudge marks all over it with your fingers, so you want to kind of keep your fingers off it. There you go. That does need to go higher though.
Yes. If you want, you can even put a picture, if it's a big enough plaque, right under the deer mount. The mount.
This is a point that I really want to make. Look at the difference that we made just changing this plaque. And there's another aspect of this that I really want to point out. I mean, I really want to point this out. These are some twigs that I cut out in the backyard, and I made these little picture frames. I mean, this is so simple, folks. But look at what you can do if you just got a little imagination. You take this picture. I mean, I'm not gluing it on right now. I'm just trying to prove a point. But look at that cool little picture frame, huh? Now look at this. If I get it to stay on there. Now, I'll just hold it. Real high-class production here, tell you that. But I mean, look at that. Can you grasp what we're trying to tell you here with a little imagination? I mean, look at that. Hey, one quick tip too. Let that dry for minimum 3-4 days. Just stick it in the corner somewhere. The only reason it's sitting here by my pellet stove is it was convenient. But yeah, 3-4 days, and then too, if you've got some real rough spots on there, you can take a little file or something, or some sandpaper. A sanding block works the best, and you can knock those down a little bit. But with that material that you're using, it's going to cover a lot of that. And if it doesn't, use 2 layers of the material. Tip. That's a good tip for you.